Welcome to Tavern Tales. Today's tale, courtesy of Father's Day 22. Am I the antagonist for not spending Father's Day with my son? I, 33 male, lost my father at a young age. Ever since then, I spent Father's Day at his grave and visiting places that were important to him. My wife has always been supportive of this, but last year that changed. Our son, 6 now, 5 then, wanted to attend this Father's Day festival with me. I told him that I already had plans, but he was welcome to join me and learn about his grandfather. Son didn't enjoy the day. He was very bored at the gravesite, and I repeatedly had to direct him away from other graves. The long cart rides were also a lot for him. I decided that this type of experience shouldn't be repeated again for him until he is older. Tickets for this year's festival just went on sale, and this morning my wife gave me 2 tickets, an adult and child, for me and my son. I reminded her that I had plans. She got mad and told me my dad would be disappointed in me for neglecting his grandson. I don't neglect my son. I got really irritated with my wife. I told her this one day is all I ever asked for and I'm not giving it up. She called me an antagonist and said, if I don't take son to the festival, she will. And will tell everyone there she's present because her husband is a deadbeat dad. I think she's out of line. Am I in the wrong? Here are some of the comments and OP's responses to them. Think of it this way. If your father was alive, would you want to spend Father's Day at a festival with him or at your grandfather's grave? Your father is gone, but your son's father is not. Appreciate what time you have with your son because you do not know how long you have with him. This hit me more than any other comment. Yeah, I would really have liked to have gone to this festival with my dad. It hadn't started yet back then, but if it had, he would have taken me. Thank you for asking this question. It definitely shifted my perspective. I'm glad I could help. I'm not sure if you've seen the other comment, but why not visit him on his birthday? Everyone wins then. You get to see your father and your son gets to go to the festival with you. This is going to sound odd, but my dad didn't celebrate his birthday. My mom told me he didn't like talking about his birthday, although he always made a big deal out of hers and mine, so neither of us know why he didn't like it. Maybe he was planning on telling me one day, but I'll never know. However, I do have a couple of alternatives I'm considering. Regardless, I've decided to take him. The overwhelming "you're the antagonist" verdict is pretty convincing. I guess grief blinded me. I do still think what my wife said was out of line and that needs to be a conversation. But my son is innocent, and he deserves good memories. And now for the update. A polite person asked if I would have wanted to go to such a festival with my dad. And that hit me, because of course I would. I would want to do almost anything with my dad, who I miss. Kids love festivals, so of course I would have enjoyed this as a kid. However, my dad never spoiled me, and I'm not going to teach my son that the world revolves around him either. There are plenty of festivals and carnivals we attend throughout the year. That can't be every day. This is Dad's day, his only day, and I'm not going to take it from him. I talked to my mom about what happened, and she told me that I wouldn't reward son for having a tantrum, but I'm rewarding wife. And she's right. On June 19th, I'm going to take my son to my hometown. He'll spend the morning with my mom while I visit the grave. Then, I'll take him to lunch at my dad's favorite restaurant. We'll go swimming nearby the place Dad used to take me fishing. I'll take him to get ice cream. It'll be a nice day, and it will be a day that honors my dad. My wife can go to the festival if she wants, but son will not be attending. I know many of you were excited that I decided to take him, but I'm not going to teach my son it's okay to be selfish. I'm going to continue to teach him about Dad so Dad can live on in spirit. I make my son the focus of almost every holiday, but this is Dad's day. That's an important lesson for him to learn. Sometimes it's not about us. Sometimes it's about others. Both sides are justified in how they feel. However, the initial approach by the dad isn't right. Instead of seeing it strictly as a black or white choice between going to the festival or visit the cemetery, the dad should have approached with a compromise, one that allows him to uphold his yearly tradition, as well as spend quality time to bond with his son. I'm glad that option was chosen in the end. What do you think of this story? Let me know. Here's a tale with an uplifting resolution between two understanding people. Courtesy of Patient Focus 1866. Am I the antagonist for not eating the meal my stepmom had prepared especially for me? So I, 22 female, admit that I have the appetite of a child. I'm a very fussy eater and not particularly healthy. My stepmom, 57 female, is very healthy and has helped my dad, 55 male, with his health problems when it comes to a healthier lifestyle. Through lockdown, I stayed with my mom as my stepmom and dad live very far away. However, I brought up the idea of trying to eat healthier and my stepmom was really supportive. Once a week, my sister, 19 female, and I would have an online cooking session with our dad and stepmom. But out of 10 recipes, I only like one. My sister and I funded the meals ourselves, and my dad and stepmom would have made these meals without us as well. So it's not like my stepmom was giving up her time and money. It was just a fun activity to do whilst we were so far from each other. The tension broke when my dad and stepmom came to see me as restrictions eased. She had cooked a healthy meal which I hoped that I would like. I didn't like it. I ate all the meat, but the sauce was bland and I couldn't stomach it. As soon as I put my plate down, she started snapping at me, saying things like, "I made that especially for you. I've tried all lockdown. This weight had to have come from somewhere. You're going to have loads of health problems when you're older. If your dad can do it, then you should too." I can't remember exactly what was said, but she said it with a lot of venom and with a lot more fat shaming. I felt like I was being picked on and was cornered. I also have a low self-esteem, and she was the first person I went to about my mental health issue, so I felt betrayed and really shaken up. I'm not very combative or anything, and my sister wasn't with me to stick up for me. My dad said nothing either, so I just sat there saying things like, "I understand," and trying to keep my head down so as not to anger her more. I'm a very anxious person and I just wanted to throw the chair, flip the table and leave for a good cry. I didn't though. I managed to keep my emotions in check. Afterwards, she sent an apology, but it was a very short text and said, "I'm sorry you felt that way. My mom and my sister support me and says I should have kicked off back, but I was just so shook up and guilty about the whole issue that could have been avoided if I had just eaten a whole meal." I still feel guilty about it and I can see where she is coming from to a certain extent. I believe she had a right to voice her disappointment and be disappointed, but went too far with her comments about my weight and health. It's made me really wary whenever I see them both and made me extremely uncomfortable to be around her. Am I the antagonist for not eating the whole meal? You are not the antagonist. While it's true that it's frustrating when you put in the time and effort into cooking a meal for someone, and they don't finish it or don't like it, especially when you're concerned for their health. However, the way stepmom conveyed her thoughts would just end up either aggravating or hurting the other person. And now for the update. I met up with dad and my stepmom around Easter. My sister came with me and my boyfriend, and I was glad she did because I chickened out once we got there and didn't say anything for ages, so she brought it up. My stepmom made a proper apology. She admitted she had gone about things wrong and that next time anything upset her, she would just say what was wrong instead of letting it sit until she exploded. I made sure to let her know that I did really appreciate the effort she put into trying to find me healthy stuff to eat. And I did what was suggested and asked that instead of her cooking meals for me, I just try bits off my dad's or her plate whilst I cook myself something, which she agreed to. So, everything is patched up with my stepmom now. I've been over there a couple of times since and things have been good. We actually have a laugh about picky eaters now because my boyfriend is pickier than me and her son is also picky. So she said it actually makes a nice challenge in the kitchen when we are all there and all using the kitchen and working together on each other's meals. The only problem was with my dad. My sister was probably just as angry as me that this had happened and tore my dad a new one for not stepping in when he saw me getting upset and siding with my stepmom. He just claimed that he was trying to teach me a life lesson in sticking up for myself. In the end, me and my sister just sat back and left it. We might have given him the benefit of the doubt if this was the first time he'd chosen our stepmom over us. However, we have had loads of issues in the past with him doing this, so we agreed that he was just trying to stay on our good side and not think about my feelings at all. It's left our relationship fractured, but we don't see him that often, so we just rant to each other and leave him to it. I just wanted finally to say thank you for the advice and support. We live and we learn, and things have been better since, which is the main thing. We all say the wrong thing sometimes, but what makes you a person of integrity is if you can set aside your pride and apologize with sincerity. I'm glad the stepmom properly apologized to you, and also reflected on how she can do better next time. It also sounds like you have a great sister from the fact that she stood up for you. And as you said, we live and we learn. Have you encountered something similar? Let me know. And that's a wrap for tonight. Be sure to visit us next time. And if you want to, leave a like and subscribe.